Everybody tried making a video, and there were definitely lots of times where you saw an artist on MTV and they were smiling and lip syncing, and you could just sense right out of camera range there was a rifle trained on them making sure they did it. Well, in the high school lunchroom, you know, if you liked Duran Duran and Culture Club, you were arguing with guys sitting across the table saying, hey, the boss would never sink that low. Well, guess what? The boss sank that low, and he wasn't as good at it as Duran Duran or Culture Club. It was gratifying to see, for an MTV fan, these established artists trying to cross over to us rather than waiting to cross over to them.
Music.
In a way, Madonna was kind of a Dylan of the 80s, that she came out of the sticks, went to New York, came up with her own sound, her own identity, took the world by storm.
What are your dreams? What's left?
To rule the world.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Madonna.
I remember a Rush review in the Village Voice in 1985 that, you know, mentioned Madonna and said, what will she be doing 2, if not 5 years from now? Well, 5 years after 1985, it was Rush that nobody had ever heard of. Basically, if you couldn't cut it in punk, you had a good chance of cutting it in new wave. Adam Ant is a perfect example. Adam Ant started off as a punk. He was a terrible punk rocker. Then he moved on to new wave, and he did the same thing, the prancing, the mincing, the jumping around, the high-pitched yelps, and it was excellent. New wave was in favor of cheap and gimmicky innovations. It was kind of like the island of misfit toys. That's why synthesizer music caught on much faster in new wave than it did in rock in general. He was all synthesizers all the time, and he even sang like a synthesizer.
Here in my car, I feel safest of all. I can lock on my doors. It's the only way to live in cars.
The song Cars was pretty much about becoming a human synthesizer, and it was cold and distant and unfeeling, and yet it was indescribably sexy and intense and rocking. It was phenomenal.